In a city of millions, there is a loneliness that can feel absolute. For one cheeseburger, it was a flavor he knew all too well. Each night, the city lights flickered, not with promise, but as a dim reminder of a light that had gone out in his life. She was gone, and with her, the cheese in his world had lost its melt. He replayed the memories like a favorite song stuck on a sad refrain. The laughter they shared, the promises whispered over shared fries. Now all that remained was the echo, a hollow space where she used to be. He was just a burger, plain and simple, lost in a world that suddenly felt far too big. But then, a sign from the universe, soggy and discarded in a puddle, a postcard from London, her city, the place she'd gone to find herself, leaving him to find only emptiness. As he picked it up, the faded image of Big Ben wasn't just a landmark, it was a map, a destination. A tiny flickering flame of hope ignited in his sesame seed heart. Despair was a choice, and he was choosing to fight back. He needed more than hope. He needed a statement, a grand gesture that would echo across the Atlantic, something permanent, something that screamed what his trembling bun couldn't whisper. And in the neon haze of a back alley, he found his answer. The artist was a grizzled old hot dog, his hands steadier than his demeanor. He'd seen it all, but a cheeseburger seeking to immortalize a feeling? That was a new one. Our hero didn't flinch. He knew what he had to do. He pointed to a spot right over his heart. The sting of the needle was sharp, a physical echo of the ache he'd carried for months. But with each line etched into his bun, the pain transformed. It wasn't an ending, but a beginning. He was taking all his love, all his longing, all his hope, and turning it into a single indelible word. There it was. Everything. Because that's what she was. His sun, his moon, his stars, his extra slice of cheese on a cold day. He wasn't just a cheeseburger anymore. He was a declaration, a promise, worn for the world and for her to see. The journey was a blur of nervous energy and stale cabin air. An entire ocean couldn't separate them. Not anymore. He was closing the distance with every passing cloud. This wasn't just a flight, it was a pilgrimage. He clutched the armrest, his gaze fixed on the horizon, touching the tattoo through his wrapper. It was his compass, his courage, his proof. And then, there it was. London. Sprawling and majestic, bathed in the golden light of late afternoon. The city from the postcard. Her city. As the plane descended, the iconic silhouette of Big Ben rose to meet him, not as a picture, but as a promise fulfilled. He was here. The final act was about to begin. With his guitar case in hand and his heart on his bun, he walked the ancient cobblestone streets. Every step was a drumbeat of anticipation. He wasn't a tourist. He was a troubadour on the most important quest of his life. He breathed in the foreign air, a mix of history, hope, and distant fish and chips. He found the address she'd scribbled on the back of an old menu. He looked up, his breath catching in his throat. A light was on. 3rd floor. Was she there? Did she ever think of him? There was only one way to find out. He unlatched the case. The guitar inside wasn't just wood and wire, it was his voice, ready to sing the song that words alone could never capture. He took a final, steadying breath. This was it. The first chord rang out, clear and true, cutting through the evening hum of the city. It was a sound full of longing and devotion. Passers-by, a croissant on a stroll, a pair of gossiping cupcakes, all stopped, their attention captured by the raw emotion pouring from the small figure on the pavement. And up above, a shadow stirred. The music had reached its target, a melody traveling through brick and glass, carrying with it a story of 2 burgers an ocean apart. He poured everything into his performance, every lonely night, every mile traveled, every ounce of hope. As the camera circled, it revealed the secret he carried, the ink that told the whole story. He wore his heart not on his sleeve, but etched forever on his bun. Then, on a soaring crescendo, the window flew open, and there she was. Her lettuce was a little different, her expression first puzzled, then frozen in disbelief. It couldn't be, but it was. Her cheeseburger, the one she thought she'd left behind. A tear of pure, unadulterated joy welled in her eye, a perfect, glistening drop of ketchup. He had come for her. He saw her, and a smile of pure relief spread across his face. He'd crossed the world for this moment, for this single, beautiful ketchup tear. He kept playing, the song now a triumphant anthem, but the shock, the romance, the sheer, impossible grandeur of the gesture, it was too much for one hamburger to take. The world began to spin. His song came to an abrupt, discordant halt. His serenade had become a crisis. Time itself seemed to stretch, to hold its breath, as she tumbled from the window. a vision in sesame and lettuce falling through the London twilight. But her hero was there. Without a second thought, he launched himself into the air, a patty-powered projectile of pure love, defying gravity and all known laws of fast food physics. In that heart-stopping, slow-motion moment, their eyes met. The world disappeared. There was only him and her, suspended in a glittering nebula of their own making. He had her. They landed as gently as a sesame seed on a freshly baked bun. She opened her eyes, safe in his arms. The grand gesture was complete. No more words were needed. And so they kissed, a perfect union of toasted bun and melted cheese. A kiss that tasted of home, of long journeys, and of a love that was, and always would be, everything. The street erupted in silent cheers, because everyone, from the snootiest croissant to the humblest breadstick, understands that true love is always worth the journey.